My husband slept with my niece while I was on a business trip. I found it suspicious when my niece looked at my husband a little too much. I tried to tell myself that I was imagining things, but a few days ago I found out that my husband slept with her while I was away on a business trip. This niece is my brother's daughter, and she is 23. For more than a year, I felt she was looking way too much at my husband, 40, but my mind couldn't accept this, and I told myself I was crazy. I know she admires him. She is very vocal about it. I didn't do anything because I never saw anything suspicious on his side. My brother is a loser, to be frank, and a stupid excuse of a father. Drinks, gambles, and usually unemployed. My husband collects him frequently from the hospital and pays for the medicine he has for his liver. A lot of times when my niece was still a child, I took care of her, cooked for her, and got her ready for school. Her mother left with someone else, and she abandoned her with her father. My husband is the complete opposite of him. He takes care of his appearance, has a successful business, 45 employees. She looked up to him and said she learned a lot from him about how business works. When the line was really crossed was when one day she insisted to iron his suit. He always wears suits and ties, and she wanted to prepare it for him. I was very busy with my 7-year-old daughter, who had a hard time getting used to the new school, and I let it pass. A very stressful period for me, and she helped. I told her I will just order food every day, but she wanted to be useful, so she said. She cooked what he liked to eat, never asked what we want, just what he wants. And 3 days ago, I found out he slept with her while I was away on a business trip. I let my daughter with them in the house, but he took her to my mother. I actually got an anonymous text, which turned out to be from a friend of hers. I hoped it's a stupid joke, but I told him I knew he slept with her, and he started apologizing and explaining that it happened just once, that they had wine, and it happened. I don't know what to do now. Relevant comments. Commenter: he dropped your daughter off at your mom's. Your niece came over, had wine, and hooked up. I doubt it just happened. Feels like it was planned. Also, doubt it was just one time. OP. My brother also knows about the whole thing, and it seems he was ready to go and kill him, but my mom stopped him because he still needs my soon-to-be ex-husband help. I spoke to my mom, and she is also very upset, but I simply cannot go to that house. What if she appears? I am not ready to face her, neither of them. And my mother tried to reason with her and begged her to tell her what was in her mind, to which she replied that she deserved some happiness finally, and actually got very triggered when my mom told her she hurt me. She yelled that she was hurt enough by everyone, and she deserved good things too. Even if we were all against her, no one was against her until this. But it seems she secretly hated us all, or at least was very envious of our lives, as she had it hard. And yes, she told my mother, I supposed to hurt her even more, that she hopes she is pregnant. She acts like we were all against her, like we all just pitied her. Commenter: wasn't one time, reply to the number and ask for more details. Say they are lying and you need to know when it started. Also, yup, she was supposed to be there to help while you were away. Help with what if your kid wasn't even there? It was planned. It was intentional. This wasn't a last second. How do they do this? They fucked in your house for likely hours while the daughter was away. They used your bed. They might have fucked all over the house. Burn him to the fucking ground. He betrayed you in a completely disgusting way. Think about how old your kid is. How old was this girl when your husband met her? He presumably knew her from when she was a minor and underage. Minor. Story 5. I canceled my wedding because my fiance's family thinks I'll be a bad husband. Ada, I, 32M, was supposed to marry the love of my life, Emily, 30F, in a few months. We've been together for 3 years, and I thought we were happy and solid. But for as long as I've known her, I've had issues with her family. They've never said anything directly to my face, but they've always been a bit cold, passive-aggressive comments, subtle digs, that sort of thing. At first, I shrugged it off, thinking it was just nerves about their daughter getting married. But recently, it's gotten worse. For months, I've been getting hints from her parents and brothers that they don't think I'm good enough for Emily. Her dad would drop comments about my job, asking if I was sure I could provide for a family. Her mom made weird remarks about how Emily is used to a certain standard of living. Her brothers have outright joked that I don't have what it takes to handle someone like their sister. I tried to ignore it, thinking they were just being protective. But then, a week ago, I overheard a conversation that made me rethink everything. Emily's family was sitting around after dinner, talking casually, and I was in the next room. They didn't realize I could hear them. Her mom said, I still don't understand why she's marrying him. He's nice, but he'll never be able to give her the life she deserves. Her dad agreed, saying, he's not the guy I imagined for her. She could do so much better. That hit me like a ton of bricks. I didn't want to believe what I was hearing, but the worst part? Her brothers chimed in too, laughing about how they'll have to bail her out when the marriage falls apart. I felt sick to my stomach. Here I was, about to commit my life to Emily, but her own family had already decided I was going to fail as a husband. I tried to brush it off, but the more I thought about it, the more it ate at me. How could I marry into a family that clearly doesn't respect me or think I'm good enough for their daughter? I brought it up to Emily the next day, and she got defensive. She said her family is just old-fashioned and that I shouldn't take it personally. But how could I not? It's one thing to be protective, but to outright say I won't be a good husband? I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd always be fighting an uphill battle for their approval. After a few days of thinking it over, I made the decision to call off the wedding. I told Emily that I couldn't go through with it, not when her family doesn't believe in me or our relationship. She was furious, said I was overreacting, and that I was letting her family's opinions ruin our future. But I just don't see how I can marry someone when I know I'll never be good enough for her family. Now, Emily is devastated, and I feel like I've torn our lives apart. She keeps telling me that her family's opinions don't matter, that she loves me and that's what counts. But I can't shake the feeling that this will always be hanging over our heads. So, ATA for canceling the wedding? Should I have just sucked it up and married her anyway? Relevant comments. Commenter. The big thing is that she has never stood up to her family and told them to cut the crap. She could have gone to her family immediately once she realized her engagement was crumbling and demanded a groveling apology from them. That is on her. Her family is toxic. It'll be lovely never to speak to them again. NTA. Commenter. NTA. The fact that they frequently say things like this means she doesn't stand up for you behind closed doors. If she wanted to be with you, she would have stood up for you, and then her family would respect you. I could not marry into a family like that. Thank you for sticking around until the end. If you liked our videos, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to keep up with our latest content. Have a wonderful day. There is no excuse, but she sounds messed up and probably desperate for a father figure. But in that sense, your husband intentionally or unintentionally groomed her. He was a father figure when her mother left and her father ignored her. Your husband was a surrogate father and he fucked his child. You should be worried for your own daughter. You should also explicitly explain to him what he did, that this girl looked up to him, that he was a father figure, that he knowingly or unknowingly took advantage of a messed up child who saw him as a father, and you are worried he will now do this to his daughter. Honestly, because he needs to hear that, and hopefully because it ends any future relationship between then and also makes him feel like fucking shit. Use it against him in a divorce as well, and make sure others know that the young girl he fucked, who was your niece, was also someone who saw him as a father figure, and that he groomed her. Honestly, if he did it intentionally, you genuinely need to keep your daughter away from him. Story 2. I found out my wife had an affair years ago, and she never told me. She says it doesn't matter anymore, but I can't let it go. Aita? I recently discovered my wife had an affair with her coworker 6 years ago. She admitted it when I confronted her, and said it was just a mistake during a rough time in our marriage, and she didn't tell me because it meant nothing. While she insists it's ancient history, it's still fresh to me. My wife, 34F, and I, 36M, have been married for 8 years, together for 10. We've built a good life together. Happy, or so I thought. Recently, while we were going through some old messages on her laptop, she asked me to help her find an email. I stumbled upon some old texts between her and a guy from work. They were flirty, way too flirty, and when I dug a bit deeper, I realized she had an affair with this guy about 6 years ago while we were married. I was shocked. She never mentioned this before, not even during the few rocky periods we had early on in our marriage. When I confronted her, she admitted it right away. She said it was a stupid mistake, that it was brief, and that she ended it because she felt horrible about it. She said it was a tough time in our marriage and claimed she didn't want to hurt me by bringing it up later, especially because it meant nothing, and she's been committed to me ever since. Here's the thing, I can't stop thinking about it. It doesn't feel like it's in the past to me, even though she insists it's irrelevant now. She says I'm overreacting and that I need to move on because we're stronger now, and this was years ago. But the trust I thought we had feels shattered. I'm torn because I still love her, but I don't know if I can get past the fact that she kept this from me for so long. She says it's ancient history, but to me, it feels like it just happened. Am I the asshole for not being able to let this go, even though it happened years ago and she says it doesn't matter anymore? Relevant comments. Commenter. The affair to her is years ago. To you, it's recent. Right now, just happened. There's a difference. She can't control your feelings and emotions. You need time to process. She got the audacity to say it's irrelevant when she cheated? Commenter. Cheaters are experts at mental gymnastics. Commenter. NTA. Her frankly disgusting reaction to your feelings prove that she doesn't regret cheating and hasn't changed at all to this day. She is once again deciding how you should feel. disregarding how you're feeling and placing herself permanently above you. You shouldn't let this go. The person who is supposed to be your life partner betrayed you in the worst possible way, then lied to your face for 6 years without regret. Story 3. Ada for telling my wife that my life would be better without her. My wife, Anne, and I have been married for 13 years. I am 43 and she is 46. We do not have children. When we first began dating, nobody could make me happy like Anne. She always seemed to know exactly the right thing to say to me when I was down. But over the past decade or so, she has really started to show her true colors, and a lot of what her ex-husband said to me about her has begun to make more sense. For example, I have a very high-stress job. People bring me problems, and I fix those problems. But when I get home, 9 times out of 10, Anne just has more problems to throw onto my plate. She doesn't work, so she's free to do anything she wants to solve said problems during the day. But lately she has even begun making lists of things that she wants me to do after I work all day. But my biggest issue with Anne is that I can't ever really open up to her about anything. Whenever I talk about something bad that happened to me, she'll either try to one-up me or agree with the person who wronged me. Last Friday, I had a horrible day. There was an enormous problem at work that basically all fell on my shoulders to solve. When I was crossing the street after work, I had a green signal and a bicycle blew through a red and side-clipped me. The cyclist yelled expletives at me and then rode away. I thought about calling the police because it was technically a hit and run, but there was probably nothing they could do. When I got home, desperate, I talked to Anne about what happened. She listened and then immediately took the cyclist's side. I reiterated that the cyclist ran through a red light, to which she responded that cyclists aren't obligated to stop. When I told her she was wrong and tried to put the issue to rest, she began frantically Googling laws. She found that in our state, they can treat lights like a stop sign. She began triumphantly reading the law to me loudly, word for word, getting louder when I kept trying to tell her that I wasn't interested. At the end of her spiel, she gave me this incredibly arrogant look, as if she was right. I just stared at her for a second and said that my life would be better without her. She got incredibly upset, shrieked at me until her voice was hoarse, and then packed a bag and left to stay with her parents. She has texted me all weekend demanding an apology, but I haven't responded. Did I do something unforgivable here? Relevant comments. Commenter, sounds like the problem solved actually. You said what needed saying and she left. Done and done. Do you need help on the first steps for contacting a lawyer or something? Because otherwise it sounds like you got her out of your house with minimal effort. Commenter, sounds like this was just a tiny straw that finally broke the camel's back. OP should stop worrying about this situation with the cyclist and look back at all the times he has felt not only unsupported, but has had shit that she dumped in his lap that she could have dealt with herself while he was working. Think about the totality of the situation, OP, and then contact a lawyer. NTA. Commenter, what did her ex say about her? OP, he called her a colossal manipulative bitch. I nearly hit him when he said that to me. Honestly, if anyone deserves an apology here, it may be him. Commenter, if you want to double down, reply back to her saying her ex was right about her. Story 4. Ada for breaking down and telling my mom that she should have just aborted me, since she treats me differently because of my facial deformity but treats my stepsister better. I was born with a facial deformity, and I don't remember my mom telling me that she loves me. I don't remember her giving me a hug or just being warm and motherly towards me. I have had to deal with weird looks and bullying from other kids' adults all my life, but nothing hurts me more than how my own mom treats me. She got married to my stepfather, and he came with a daughter who is 2 years younger than me from a previous marriage, and I realized that I was the problem. She treats her so much better than me. She is loving towards her, affectionate, playful, spends time with her, helps her with schoolwork, randomly buys her things that she thinks she will like, never misses her school things, etc. Things that she never does with me. Witnessing her be the mom I have always longed for to my stepsister hurts, but I never brought it up until yesterday on my 19th birthday. I had been saving up and asked my mom well in advance if we could spend the day together, just her and I, at the theme park, and she agreed, so I bought the tickets. The day came, I woke up and got ready. When I went downstairs, Mom said she wasn't going anymore, as she would not feel comfortable going with just me, because my stepsister would feel left out. When she said those words, I just broke down and told her that I had been left out all this time, and it never bothered her. They have actually been to the same theme park and many other places with my stepfather, but without me, and I didn't complain. I went on and on about how all my life I have tried to be the model son, hoping that maybe it will make her love me, but it's clear that she never will. I told her that it would have been better if she had just aborted me. She told me that the world does not revolve around me, and that I should stop acting childish, so I just went to my room and spent the rest of my birthday alone, while they went to visit my stepfather's parents. Aita, relevant comments. Commenter, NTA. It sounds like you've been carrying a heavy burden for a long time, and your feelings are completely valid. It's incredibly painful to feel neglected or unloved by a parent, especially when you see them treating a sibling or step-sibling with affection and care that you haven't received. Commenter, hey man, I know she's your mom, but fuck her. You can be mad at me for saying that. Happy birthday, dude. I hope you have some friends to at least share it with, or maybe some other family. Don't take your mother's shitty behavior as a reflection of your self-worth. If anything, I hope it takes away the value you give to her. Sometimes, even the people closest to us, who we want to be close to, don't deserve it. Focus on grinding and getting yourself to a place where you can have people who value you around.